like, look, we're at the point of our relationship where everything should be just rainbows and unicorns. And, that got washed away real quick.
And now, coming to you from the K2 Studios in San Diego, California, it's the world-famous Chris and Kristine Show.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? How you doing out there today? I am Chris.
And I'm Kristine, and welcome to episode 51 of the Chris and Kristine Show.
Yes, number 51. We just passed over the big 50 last week. 51 episodes, Kristine.
Yep, and now we have as many episodes as you are old.
Hey, you're supposed to keep that on the down low. My goodness. And for the record, I'm not 51.
Are you sure?
I don't know.
Can I see your driver's license?
What, you want to just cut my leg and count the rings? Is that how you do that?
Yep, I think that's how we test.
So, Kristine, what's been going on in your world this week?
Let's see. Construction.
Yeah, I thought they were supposed to be done like a week ago.
Don't talk to me about it. They are being fabulous and doing all of the last minute pieces.
Well, they promised us they'd finish last Tuesday?
No, Friday. But some things trickled over. There was some additional patching that needed to happen of some of the drywall, and one of the pieces didn't come in my chandelier, so they're going to have to go and hunt down a new piece for it to be able to hang it. And
like a bracket or something?
It's a nut to keep one of the fixture pieces from slipping through. So it's kind of critically important.
But is it like something they can find at a generic hardware store?
Yeah, they're going to have to go find one at Home Depot.
Like any piece will do kind of thing?
Not any piece will do, but they have to hunt it down. And so they're looking for that. And then all the finished stuff. So like Monday, tomorrow, the mirrors will get hung. All of the caulking will be done to kind of seal up the bathtub and the base of the toilet. And then
wait, I did see the base of the toilet around the wall. There's like a gap or something. Is that are they putting like a frame piece around it or something? I don't understand.
I don't know. I'll have to go peek in. I haven't looked at it today.
There's like a gap. You see the wall, and there's like a little bit of a gap between the wall and where the tub meets, and it's almost like a trench.
The wall in the tub or the wall in the toilet?
No, the bathtub. Like around the
I was talking about the toilet.
Oh, okay.
No, they patched that all up yesterday. That's why it was delaying, is because the drywall hadn't been patched between where the original drywall had ended and they installed the tub. So that's what took longer. They had to come back in, put a piece of drywall, and then had to mud over it. They had to put They had to put some mesh over it, and then the mud, and then they have to texture and paint, and then repaint that room. So yeah,
well, I did see they just painted it. And
they painted all of it except for that section. So now they have to go back and paint that section and then brush it out, feather it out so that it blends in.
Oh, I gotcha. In other words, it's just going to take a lot longer than we thought.
Just one more day.
One more? No, it was like another week, right?
No, it's going to be done tomorrow.
Wait, tomorrow is
Monday.
That's right. It's not Saturday today. It's Sunday because my computer decided to do an update, and I don't know what's wrong with it, but
I call it a suck date.
Yeah, I don't know. I had to crash out the computer. So you're taking too long. I'm pulling the plug on you, and I'm resetting you myself. And I guess whatever Windows update I was trying to do, it did not finish the update or whatever. But we're back on the old version, and it's working. So we're gonna keep it like that.
Yep, keep it the OG.
But I was looking at new computers today on my phone. I was like, well, in case this thing doesn't pull up, I'm gonna have to find a backup.
Yeah, it's about time.
Yeah, this computer, I'm surprised it's held up so long, but it's got some pretty good stats for the most part. It's an HP PC. 10 times fast. HP PC.
It sounds like you're saying HTTP.
Well, maybe, but it has has a pretty good processor and a pretty good hard drive.
But it's old.
And it's got a pretty good RAM capabilities. RAM. Not the truck, but the RAM that goes inside your computer. Mm-hmm. I think it's 12 gigs of RAM, which is pretty
you're
healthy.
nerding out.
I know I'm nerding out a little bit.
You've lost all of us.
But the funny thing is that those specs are pretty impressive for today. I bought the computer like 10 years ago.
Right. And so
or maybe it was 8 years ago.
So it's struggling just a little bit, but that's okay. So yes. So back to what we were talking about. Construction will be wrapped up tomorrow, which is Monday, and then I'll be able to get in and decorate. So that's what I've been doing in my evenings, other than schoolwork and other stuff, is I've been hunting down all the little trinkets that are going to help me jazz up that bathroom and make it just look fantastic.
Fantastic. Kristine, we're going to do this cool little trick. We're going to put these GoPro cameras. I have a couple GoPros. We're going to put them in the inside the windowsills.
Yep.
And I'm going to put them on autopilot, let them play, so that they're going to get the people's reaction as they walk into the bathroom for the first time. Just like they do on television when you get that big HD TV finished room or house they do.
Right.
And they come in, they're like, wow, check out this place. This looks amazing. I love it.
But I think that I'm actually going to set it up, and I'm not going to let you come in either. And we're going to have to
do you want the cameras? I will give you the cameras.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think I'm going to set up the cameras, and then I'm going to let you and the boys come in and see it when it's all finished instead, because I want to see your expression, because you're a crier.
Oh, hey, do I have to edit this out now?
No.
Let the world...
People get to know that you get, when you tear up a little bit, when you get super emotional, and home renovation stuff really is important to you. And I think it goes back to like...
I don't cry when I watch HGTV though.
No, but in your own house, seeing something like transformed that you'd wanted to do.
But I've already seen it though.
Not finished.
Well, okay, I've already seen most of it already done, so...
Hey, why are you robbing me of my joy?
Okay, you could do... I'll pretend it's like, wow, where'd this tile come from?
I don't want your fake reaction. I want your HGTV reaction. That's why I'm not going to let you in until like all of the stuff is set. Like the sparkly lights are ready to go. All of the mats are down on the ground. Everything's finished, and it's going to walk in and look like a completely different
You bought new mats
bathroom.
for the thing too?
Hey, everything's new.
And you bought a new shower curtain?
Everything.
I told
new.
Kristine that we should have the kids go pick out the shower curtain for the bathroom.
No
and what'd you
way.
say? You said that they're going to pick out...
No, what I honestly said is, I appreciate that, but I actually don't want anybody else's opinion with getting this bathroom ready, because it's like I have a vision for it.
I know you do, but the kids are going to be using it mostly.
No,
so
they're not. I'm the one that uses it the most.
Well, it's a kid's bathroom.
And it's mine in the mornings when you're sleeping.
Well, the kids use it too.
They use it occasionally.
Okay, fine. They use it
3 days a week. I use it 5 days a week.
Okay, occasionally.
It's my bathroom.
Okay, it's your bathroom. Fine. But the kids, they love, you said they didn't want to pick out like a Star Wars shower curtain or something.
No, it's like crisp and clean, and it looks amazing, and I did not want some corny shower curtain, so I just got white.
A white shower curtain?
Yep. With a liner.
A white shower curtain with a white bath. It's going to be all white in there. It's going to look like a hospital. Like
Chris,
the old days.
Oh, you doubt me. You doubt me so much. You just wait. You wait until you see it. And I'm going to start off with the white shower curtain, and then I need to get the right color of the light green eventually, maybe. But I thought white would go better. I have a vision. You just wait for it to play out. You're going to be obsessed. I promise you.
Okay, well, I cannot wait to see it. And when we do see it, we will post the videos.
Yep.
And we will post the pictures, of course.
Yep.
On our website, I think. I have to ask our web department, see if they can handle that kind of
Hold on. Ring,
stuff.
ring. Web department.
Hello. You guys can I help you? What can I do for you today?
Yeah. But I think that's about the only thing that's really been happening this week, other than I finished my summer term at school.
Oh, you're on summer break right now?
Yeah, until Thursday.
Wait, that's not a very long break then, is it?
No, it's not. But I got my grade back for my final paper.
Oh, how'd it go?
Well, okay. Backstory a little bit. So I think we've shared briefly on this podcast about actually during one of our episodes, we went pretty extensive into the challenges that I was having at school with a professor harassing me, right? Right. So I got into a new class. My new professor was fantastic. And I haven't even told you this yet, Chris, but I got my final paper.
Ooh, did you pass?
I got 100%.
100%?
I did.
You can't go higher than that, can you?
No, and I got a really nice note from my new professor saying, I'm very impressed with your work ethic, and you came in and you had a lot of things against you coming in after the fact, because the other professor I had taught like a different curriculum. It was like not at all what was supposed to be taught. And he said, you had the odds kind of stacked against you, but I'm very pleased with your progress. There's no feedback on your paper because it was exceptional. And he just very nice. And he said, this speaks to the work ethic that you bring in and your intelligence. And it was just, after going through that whole ordeal, it made me super emotional, because it's like I worked so hard. And I didn't also tell you this, that the university came out this week issuing a huge statement about not tolerating harassment, intimidation, and singling out of students, and that they're taking a more active role in the investigation process. And when I reached out to the dean of the School of Education who'd sent this out, I said, I don't know if this is in regards to my situation or others. And he responded back and said, there are others that have come up, but yours was the first to bring awareness.
Oh,
and
really?
He thanked me because he'd only been on the job for 5 days when I brought him in the loop on my investigation.
Then after you brought yours, how many came after that?
Well, there was 12 that were involved in my investigation, 12 men and women. And so there were 12 individuals that were singled out by this professor who taught like 70. But then there's been another big investigation about Black PhD students from another professor being singled out. And so there's been a couple of incidences. The most recent one is getting a lot of press on Twitter. And so the School of Education issued a response to it to say, this is how we will move forward. But I felt kind of like I was part of something bigger. Now, like looking in hindsight, it was so hard. I mean, you know how hard it was for us, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, for you, mostly, yeah.
Right. But you being my partner and kind of seeing it all happen, it was really difficult. But anyways, out of really hard things, really great things can come. And what I'm grateful for is that the university is aware now that there are some professors at the university who are mistreating and singling out students. And now they're going to believe people that bring it up versus like before it used to be you have to prove it and it's us versus them and who's going to believe the student. And I felt like nobody was going to believe me. And now they've proven they followed through, that individuals no longer in the role that they were in. And now they're starting to recognize that this is a real problem. And so I felt like at this like elite university, I was part of something bigger and part of change.
That is fantastic. I'm so proud of you for sticking up and coming to it and bringing it to the light. It also almost reminds me of the time that the police department, I believe here in San Diego, I don't know if you were here when that happened, probably not. They had the same problem. They had a lot of women that were getting abused by they weren't talking, and they made this big deal. It was getting shoved under the rug. There was a police officer that was taking women and bringing them into the bathrooms of different liquor stores downtown. Ooh. And basically women that had like warrants or tickets or things like that and say, well, you know what, I can take you downtown or we can fix this right here.
And assaulting them?
Yeah, pretty much, yes. And so he got, he finally went through the system, and then all these other women started coming out. Right. And it kind of became a big deal. And the police department finally put out this whole thing, like a hotline that was kind of separate from the police department, saying you call this number if you feel like you're victimized or whatever. And they would go directly to that line, call the number, and it would be investigated. And more women started coming out.
Wow.
This was probably around, I'm going to say 2012, maybe 2013. I think it became national news, I think.
Yeah.
So, but it's crazy, you know?
It is. And there's power when women speak out. And the last thing that I'm going to say about this is I'm really proud of myself for speaking up about this entire situation. And I actually am going to be participating in a Women's Equality Summit with some of our past guests, which are Amy and Nancy Harrington of the Passionistas Project. They're doing a virtual Women's Equality Summit, and it's August 21st through the 23rd. It's free. So if you're a female listener, we're going to put the URL in the show notes, and you can sign up for it, and you can hear me talk a little bit more in depth about what it takes to speak up and stand firm when you're faced with injustices. Right, Chris?
That is so awesome. I love it.
Yeah. And I really love when we have guests like that bring a unique perspective on things. And I think that's super true for this week's VIP guest that we have coming up. Has a really unique story. And I just really liked connecting and learning more about his background.
That's right. We are going to have an exclusive how do we even score this guy? I mean, he is the biggest VIP we've ever had, like ever. I mean, really big.
He is a big deal.
And we're going to have him on the show right after this. Hey there, K2 crew. We love having you as our loyal listeners.
To keep up to date with what's happening behind the scenes, check us out on social media.
Yeah, you can find us on Instagram and Twitter.
And don't forget to follow our Facebook page.
Yeah, tag us in your favorite fun stories, and guess what? You might just end up on the show.
Ooh.
I'm Brucker.
I'm Levi.
And together, we co-host a movie podcast called Film on the Rocks. On our movie podcast, we like to have fun with movies, and we don't like to break down movies beat by beat, scene by scene. We like to talk about what was fun about them. So we talk about our favorite scenes, sprinkle in some trivia, We debate whether or not they deserve a sequel, and we also talk about some drinking rules that they can have, such as drink every time Vince Vaughn stuffs his face in Wedding Crashers.
Or something we call the Yoda clause, which is every time Frank Oz jumps on a screen, finish your drink. You can find us on Google Podcast, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, or really anywhere you can find podcasts, if this sounds interesting to you.
Yes, and we also love listener interaction, and we also like to take movie requests. So you could reach out to us on Twitter at Film on the Rocks, Instagram, Film on the Rocks Podcast, or email us at fotrpodcast@gmail.com. Hope to hear from y'all.
Give us a listen.
And welcome back, everybody. Today we have another very special guest on the show. He is one of Chris's dearest friends, the man, the myth, the legend. Ladies, look out. On the show today, we have Jimmie Walker.
Hey.
Hey, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. Sun's shining. It's hot. We got construction zone at the house. So what do you expect? It's all good.
I know, but every day in sunny San Diego is a great day.
Thank you for your positivity, Jimmie. Rub off on Chris a little bit more. That would be great.
Whatever. Hey, so Jimmie,
Whatever.
are you enjoying your day off today?
Absolutely. It's always, heck, time away from work is always a good day. You just got to get your mind out of that and just be optimistic about, everything, really.
That's awesome.
There's so much doom and gloom going on right now.
I like your energy, Jimmie. Now, where in the San Diego area are you joining us from today?
North County, Oceanside.
Ooh, I like Oceanside.
At the beach. I heard he's got like a beach house.
Yeah, everybody compliments. Yeah, we're a couple blocks from the beach. I would basically have an ocean view, but my neighbor across the way is blocking it. But if they have their blinds open, I actually can see the ocean through their living room.
Through their house?
You look right through their house to see the ocean?
Yes. I mean, we have a breezeway, so it's a pretty, it's probably about a good 200 feet across from our garage door to their garage door. But, when Kim has her blinds open, we can see the ocean through her living room. But it's
okay,
all
but
good.
you're not like a peeping Tom. You just mentioned Kim, so it's not all right, just making sure.
Well, that sounds great, Jimmie. So, hey, Jimmie, being it's your day off today, you're just, kicking back at home, relaxing by the beach house. Hey, so tell us about, we both work for a gasoline, tanker company. So we both are in trucking, and your trucking history, you've done trucking prior to coming into where we work at now. Weren't you like over the road?
Yes. A majority of my career I spent over the road. And I was truly blessed to meet a lot of nice, interesting folks. And a lot of those folks are my lifelong friends.
Oh, that's so awesome.
So, my career started back in 1995 when I left the military. I was going through, I had two choices. I was either going to be a manager through Albertsons or I was going to be a deputy sheriff in Jacksonville, Florida. And for some reason, it was like one of the scene in Top Gun where they're about ready to lose their pilot's license. And Goose was like, hey, do you have that number to Truckmasters? And I was in the crossroads and I figured out, since I got to see half of the world because I was in the United States Navy, and I decided to take up trucking and I've never looked back since.
Now, you mentioned military. What branch of the military were you in?
The Navy.
Oh, what'd you do for the Navy?
Navy.
Sail around the world. Pirate Jimmie in the Navy.
Search and rescue swimmer. Basically started off as basically a sub hunter, AW, anti-warfare submarine operator, second class. They decommissioned our platform from the S3s and then we went helos. So since I was in pretty good shape, they said, hey, how about being a SAR swimmer? And then did that for a while. So, I still have lifelong friends from the Navy as well. We're basically spanning across the globe.
Wow. So I know that recently in the news, and it'll be a couple weeks past by the time that this episode airs, but there's a search and rescue underway off of the coast just north of where you live. Does that bring back any memories of some of your time in the service?
It absolutely does, because I can share some heartfelt sympathies with those soldiers and one sailor, because back in December, of 1991. During the Gulf War, I had lost a friend due to a shuttle boat capsized while we were at Liberty.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So I do know what it's lost to lose some close working folks.
Yeah, I mean, I've just been kind of watching that unfold on the news, and it makes me think about those that are serving and those that are veterans. And so definitely we want to send our condolences. And so as you were in search and rescue and in the Navy, where did it take you around the world?
Yeah, where's your spots?
Being based out of Jacksonville, Florida, I did a lot of my training in Pensacola and in Jacksonville, Florida. Actually, my boot camp was here in San Diego.
Woohoo!
Oh, there you go.
Growing up in Oceanside, graduating Vista High School, but did my basic training here in San Diego, Pensacola. Being stationed out of Florida, we basically did them. The islands.
Oh, okay.
St. Thomas, Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico. Those were our training grounds. And I'm trying to make sure you're back on. And basically the Med. So we served the Mediterranean portion of the world.
Well, you can't beat that, man. It's got to be great, you know?
I never did what we call a Westpac. That's doing Asia. But going around the Horn of South America, we were bringing the USS America from the East Coast to the West Coast.
Oh, wow.
And like I said, the Mediterranean, Italy, Spain, spent some time in Wiesbaden, Germany, England.
Wait, you were in the Navy in Germany? Is there an ocean next to Germany? I don't think there is.
No. We flew in, so.
Oh, okay.
See, that's, there's some confusion. I'm not going to say confusion. There's basically a couple of divisions in the Navy. So you've got what we call ship's company. Those are the folks who are attached to the ship. But since we were attached, we were part of a carrier air group or a carrier air wing. We're an air group attached to the ship. And so, but we fly on and fly off. But our bases are basically on shore, but we have the ability to fly on and fly off at different locations around the world and serving as needed.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, it sounds like you had a very diverse experience. So then you exit the Navy and then you say, sign me up, I'm going to drive truck. And then you hit the open road instead of the open seas, right?
There you go.
Absolutely. I mean, it was a fantastic experience, just getting behind you get behind the wheel of another 80,000 pound vehicle and you're just trucking along, having a heyday. You got your drink, it's like you two went on and you and your family went on a road trip. So,
right.
And that's what I tell folks, especially when you go on road trips or you kind of don't be in a rush to get somewhere, just take it in, and I've made every trip like that, and just rolling the windows down, listening to some good tunes, and then just being a part of the truck, and then just seeing our great country that it has to offer. We have so much to offer other than just good jobs, but we have tremendous scenery across our country.
Yeah, and you've actually have driven driven for a truck in every single state. Did you drive in Hawaii, trucking wise?
No. That's the thing. Fortunately, for me, we work for the same company, and our company has, assets across the country. And I was fortunate to work in Alaska.
What?
And so
Ice road truckers? Did you have to drive on the frozen highways and everything like the ice road truckers?
Toward October, yeah. The road got a little icy, but we weren't driving on ice. Yeah, it's the great wilderness up there, so I can see that's what they call the North Slope, but I was mainly staying around Anchorage, Alaska. But getting back to driving across the country, I was able to chalk off one of my long life to-do things. I pretty much, like Chris stated earlier, I've pretty much worked in every state in the Incon U.S., so I was able to chalk off number 49.
Wow.
So I've worked in every state but Hawaii.
Well, there's always hope for that,
Absolutely.
I heard the truck drivers over there wear flip flops, so it's and Hawaiian lays.
Yeah, lava lavas or I don't know. Yeah.
Well, when we were in Hawaii, we actually did see the facility for the tankers. We saw them loading right in the fuel. They had like a harbor drive, like we have a harbor drive, and they have the. I saw the fuel dock where they were actually loading. The vessels would import the fuel directly from the vessel right to the storage tanks, and then straight to the trucks, and that's how they would deliver it.
Absolutely. Well, our company used to own that, and Tesoro sold it off.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, well, that's what happened.
Too bad.
We could have put in a transfer and say, hey, we want to work in Hawaii.
I thought about it. I did think about it. You know what's funny? We were in Hawaii. The gas stations there, a lot of them had just regular 87 only. Like, that's all they had. It was weird, you know?
Probably would make sense because especially, if you're tanking in the fuel, you probably want to utilize as much volume as you can, and they don't probably want to contaminate the two different types of fuels when it's in transport. Yeah. So it makes sense just to transport in only one type of fuel.
Yeah, it totally makes sense.
They probably have to transport in jet fuel, so that's probably in a total separate container, especially with those ships.
Right.
So it's probably just to eliminate cross-contamination.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But now, Jimmie, you used to be a long-haul trucker, and now you're kind of a more local, regional area trucker. So what made you decide to make the switch away from the open road? What happened in your life?
My son. I'm a proud father of, I have my son, and was going through a situation where it was a custody situation, and so I needed a job or basically something that had a schedule so that I could prove to the court that yes, I'm going to be home, I'm going to be around, because long haul driving, being over the road, and it's not even necessarily just in trucking, but there are a lot of jobs or careers that take people away from the house.
Right.
And, but it was just something to say and prove to the court and to the mom that say, yes, I'm going to be working from this time to this time, and I'm going to be home from this time to this time.
What is your relationship like with the mother of your child? Are you guys cool, or are you guys kind of...
Yes, we're cordial, and we had a relationship for a while, and we're it's tippy-toeing back into it, maybe, but
what
intrigue
is because it's for the best interest of the child, so it's you folks, everybody's been in a relationship with, sometimes it's hot and cold, and you don't know how to take things sometimes, or how to read people sometimes, what they're thinking, what they're doing. And that's, I'm like, I'm one of those type of persons. I'm like, hey, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. But I've learned from my mistakes. So,
well, that's a good thing. That's really good.
And, being a single dad in a shared custody situation, and you two both know, just like I do, sometimes shared custody has its bonuses and has its minuses, so it's good for him, and I really just want to be a father in his life because being a junior, I don't know my real father, so I have a stepdad, and he's my dad, but we lost him back in November.
Oh wow.
But I just truly want to be a part of my son's life, and I'm making the sacrifices and the choices to do that.
That's so important, Jimmie, and thank you for sharing that. We're so sorry to hear about the loss of your stepfather. So,
but yeah, he's in a good place, and but yeah, we're cordial, so and everything's groovy. We have to, because if you bring negative vibes, and from day one, and even with my sister and going through the challenges of trying to establish custody and all the things to set up good relationships between you and the child and you and the co-parents, because it's all about co-parenting. And just didn't want the negative vibes and the negative feelings. And day one, I told my family, I says, hey, we gotta check the negativity in the closet. And, because we want our son to come into an environment where it's a welcoming environment, and we want everything to be positive. Other than, if having a bad day at work or having bad situations with the co-parent, I always make sure that my environment with my son is positive.
That makes sense. That makes so much sense. And, Chris and I have been having some interesting conversations about maintaining healthy relationships with the other co-parent. And so I'd like to have you...
Oh, really?
Yes, I'd like to have you weigh in on a topic with me, Jimmie.
Okay.
Because I know he's... Go ahead.
Go ahead. You were going to say.
Because I know he's told me, because he has 2 sons and you have a son. I mean, it's
do.
funny that we all have boys here. We don't have no girls.
I know.
But
That's how it should be, I guess.
But my topic of conversation, it's a little bit different than the parenting. First of all, Jimmie, a very personal question. Do you tend to date Latinas?
Do I tend to
I think he did. I think you did, didn't you?
I only did it out of I'm not going to say yes, I did it out of a whim. I had a friend. Well, it was a close friend of ours. It was another coworker. Basically, it was his wife. She introduced me to this one person, lovely person, by the way. And she lived in Mexico City, and just like any other relationships, you kind of start with texting and messaging service. I'm just the type of person. I tried this online stuff and all this other stuff, and it didn't work out for me too well because I guess people can use technology to create filters. I'm an unfiltered type of guy. What you see is what you get.
What do you mean by filters? Were they like making fake photographs, that kind of stuff? Like,
yeah, there you go. I mean, well, bringing to that point, because how did you guys meet?
We met on Match, but
we paid for the service. We paid, we're paying customers. So,
but I will say, Jimmie, and don't let this go to your head. You are an attractive gentleman.
What?
Chris, I'm not hitting on him, but I don't see that there's a need for filters. So, I could see how if you put something out there, the ladies might be like, well, I need to spiff this up a little bit so that he, I can turn his head.
I know, Kristine, but I know you saw me and my son when we were at the company party the last time.
That was a couple years ago, I think.
And but still, I'm so diverse. I can be a laid back kind of guy. I can put on a suit and whatever. But anyways, there's so many people. I don't like using labels, but when you try to have a conversation with somebody or when you're trying to meet somebody, I'm not all into this texting and messaging. And it's like, hey, pick up the phone, call me. And then I'm the type of person, here, call me. I'm available now. Call me. And then they don't want to call you. They just rather text you.
As Kristine is texting on her phone right now, this very second when you say that.
And it's like, you take away the personal experience of actually hearing someone's voice and listening to them, and their inflectuations. And sometimes you get to hear their personalities just by, because you can hear the expressions on their voice. Then you can't get those kind of vibes through texting and emailing and messaging and blah, blah, blah. But yes, she was a very entertaining person. I took a trip down to Mexico City.
Wow.
That's
just out of the blue.
That's dedication.
I just said, hey, are you available on such and such dates? And she said, yeah. And so I just booked a trip, flew down to Mexico City. Never been there in my life. So I went off on a whim, but that's the type of guy I am. I'm willing to explore things and explore new. I mean, whether, we can all hope for the best. And, so went down there, we met, we finally, or I should say, not that we met, but we were finally able to put our hands on each other for the first time after months and months of having conversations over the phone and through internet and FaceTiming and all that stuff. But,
So I have a question though, Jimmie.
Sure.
Was she immediately into you or was she a bit standoffish?
No, I think she was into me.
Okay. Because us, us Latinas, we can tend to come on strong a little bit. But what I really want to ask, I want to tap into your understanding about is, do you perceive us Latinas to be perhaps a more jealous creature than maybe an other type of woman that you have dated in the past?
It's not, I don't want to throw the word jealous, but I think Latinas are more dedicated to their man.
Yes. Thank you. Tell us more, Jimmie.
So they're more dedicated to their family. They're more dedicated to their children, and they're more dedicated to their man. So yeah, when you put a lot of dedication and devotion and ownership into relationships, sure. And if it doesn't matter. I don't think if you're a Latino or if you're, Caucasian, Hawaiian, Asian, whatever, when you have that much devotion and commitment and ownership into a relationship, I think you do get a little jealous when somebody tries to infringe on that, or if somebody explores or gets outside of the boundaries a little bit. So
Go on.
You may. Yeah, I mean, rightfully
Chris, take
so.
notes. Thank you, Jimmie. Chris, take notes.
I'm taking mental notes, actually, because Kristine gets very jealous of me. Would you say you get?
Well, I'm not going to go into detail, but I would say I don't get jealous. I get territorial.
There you go. Mark your territory.
I'm not a dog. But I assert my dominion.
And she tells me, some girl checks me out. I'm like, who was it? And she's like, I'm not telling you.
I give her the look, like, back off. I'm like, this is nope.
That's my man.
Yep, not for sale. Not on the market.
No, absolutely. Because, it's kind of funny because she was, and especially being in Mexico City. Mexico City is a very diverse city, and it's a huge city, and there's a lot of people. And I'm not going to say I'm the tallest guy in the world, but the average height, I'm a little bit taller than the average height down there. So I'm not going to say it was kind of like a trophy for her, but in a sense it was.
There you go. Brag on. Keep
But there are certain people, they have certain different levels of commitment in a relationship. And, when you leave me at the airport by myself for 2 hours when I'm coming back home, and you were supposed to meet me at the hotel, and I gave you the benefit of the doubt, and you knew what time I was going to leave for the airport. And so as the time comes, and every time I'm looking over my shoulder saying, surely she's going to come through the door and come running in and to give me that goodbye hug and that goodbye kiss. And when it never came.
Well, she better have a good excuse. What was her excuse?
She had a headache.
Oh.
So, but then when I later found out that, she was able to go to breakfast with her friends before going to a workout. And I'm like, what? You would rather go to a breakfast with your friends than to come say goodbye to me, leaving in her hair, and I just was like, game over, no more tokens.
At what point did you see her last before that happened?
The night before.
So how many hours went by, you think?
8.
So 8 hours, and you're hoping to see her one last time. Oh, wow. Like 10 hours?
Yeah, because she was she was a devoted person to her family.
Right.
And so she had to go back to her family to take care of her family. But then, when I'm leaving to go back to the States, or and I'm longing for that goodbye kiss or that goodbye hug, it never came.
Oh, Jimmie, I'm sorry.
And, I'm like, look, I told her, I was like, look, we're at the point of our relationship where everything should be just rainbows and unicorns. And, that got washed away real quick. And it was just time to move on in a relationship. Because
how long were you down there in Mexico?
5 days.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So 5 days, you guys were together physically 5 days then.
Correct.
Or 4.5, I guess, with the thing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We did wonderful things. Got to fly in a balloon and went over the Teotihuacan, the pyramid ruins down there.
So you were romancing her, Jimmie. You were like set up to like woo and pursue. And at the end, you got left high and dry. Would that be accurate?
Absolutely.
Aww.
It's just like an episode of The Bachelor. You guys did the whole Bachelor thing. You guys toured the world, and then it was time for the rose. And
will you accept this rose? She didn't even show up to the rose ceremony. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. I mean, well, hey, life goes on,
That's true.
Life goes on.
Greener pastures for you, Jimmie. And you're,
there's more fish in the sea.
Exactly. And we are helping you to scale the airwaves right now. So ladies, I am his personal matchmaker. You can reach out to me at chrisandchristinepodcast@gmail.com with your dating resumes. I will serve as the vetter to determine whether or not you are up to the standards. You know, Jimmie's a very nice guy. He's a good guy, dedicated and committed. And so Chris and Kristine podcast, that's Chris and Kristine with a K, Chris and Kristine podcast @gmail.com. Ladies, you're welcome.
You're all welcome. You know what I'm saying?
But we have loved having... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, life's like a box of chocolates.
Yep,
You just don't know what you're going to get.
You don't. And Jimmie Walker is definitely there for the taking, lady. So email us and find out more information about this fabulous friend who's been such a great support to Chris and a great supporter of this relationship. And so, Jimmie, we want to say thank you so much for being on the show today. Chris, you got anything else to add?
Not too much, but hey, are you coming in on a Saturday to work? Because we'll be doing our podcast that day. So,
Sure.
yeah.
Cool. But we can set something up before that. That's fine.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Right on.
Sounds great. Well, Jimmie, thanks so much for being on the show. And again, ladies, if you're interested, email us at chrisandchristinepodcast@gmail.com. It's Kristine's matchmaking services. I'm doing it for free, Jimmie.
You're making me sound so desperate, but
no, not at all. You know, people meet in unconventional ways. Chris and I met on Match.com, and like you said, there are better things out there. You are a great guy, and that's why you need me to vet them, because we're going to get thousands of requests.
I appreciate your help.
I hope your email box is empty, because it can get filled up real quick.
And I appreciate being on the show today.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us.
All right.
Hey, this is DB from Without Boundaries, coming in live to you. I just want to say, give us a listen on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Anchor. And also follow us on Twitter with @podcast_without. All right. See you guys later.
Hi, I'm Dietrich.
I'm Alex.
And I'm Ben.
We're from the podcast That Song From That Movie, the journey through the very best and worst of movie songs.
We want you to join us on our voyage across the cinematic sound waves as we take a deep dive on a new song and movie each week to figure out just what makes them tick.
Already we've set sail with Celine Dion on the Titanic, found a friend in Toy Story, and gotten drenched out in the rain with Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Hopefully each breakdown allows us to answer the ultimate question of what's better, the movie or the song. Or at least learn something new along the way.
Just like learning that Toy Story 4 is a meaningless cash grab without a soul.
You can subscribe right now on all good podcast platforms. If you use one of the bad ones, then that's on you, and we can't be held responsible.
Subscribe to That Song From That Movie.
Hey, that was great having the big deal Jimmie on the show.
Yeah, he was super interesting, and I was totally teasing about the, being his matchmaker.
No, you're not.
Yes, I did. He said he's working on possibly getting back together with his child's mother, so I don't want to be like a homewrecker.
That I will be the guy stepping in, and I'll hook him up. Ladies, I'll hook you up too.
Well, I'm just saying, I wish him all the best in that, but if Jimmie does need my services in the future, I have a pretty good track record of matchmaking.
I bet you do. I'm not saying you don't, but ladies, hey, first off,
all the single ladies,
how you doing out there? So, hey, if you lucky lady want to hook up with Jimmie, let me know, and I will play matchmaker. I can set that up. He's a world traveler. He will come to you, ladies. He flew to Mexico. He'll fly to you if you live in Arkansas or wherever.
Yep. Well, definitely reach out to us at chrisandchristinepodcast@gmail.com if you're interested in chatting with Jimmie. And after a thorough screening process, background check, fingerprinting, and credit report,
and
we
laser
might
scan, laser beam scan, all that stuff,
retina scan.
Right.
No, and Jimmie's a great guy, and it was so fun to have him on here and to hear about all of his different experiences. I wonder about that when you go to work sometimes, like, what are the backstories of all of the different guys that you work with?
Everybody's got a different backstory that works here at my work. I'm probably one of the only people that have never, ever, I think I am the only driver, now I think about it, that has not driven over the road cross country.
Right.
I've only driven in the San Diego region locally, ever. And the thing is that I don't like weather. Like, I hate rain. We get rain here.
You don't like weather? Like weather at all?
No, pretty much. Like, I mean, I don't like the snow or black ice and things like that. Like, I've never driven in snow. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen snow, really. But so I've only.
Wait, I'm sorry. What did you just say?
I said I'd never seen snow.
Are you?
I seen like little flakes, that kind of, but not like real snow.
Okay, we're fixing that. This winter, we're fixing that.
No, we're not.
Yes, we are.
Wait, you get the 4-wheel drive out to the
No,
snow?
my parents just bought that new cabin that they're renovating. I think it'll take a while for it to be done, but we are going to go to my hometown and then we'll go up to Shaver Lake. We're going to take the kids sledding. We're going to go to the snow. We're going to have fun. You're going to love it. You're going to freeze.
Is it cold? Is it wet?
Oh my gosh, you're too much. But we're gonna fix that.
Well, I've never driven over the road. Mostly everybody who gets their truck driving license, because all these over the road trucking companies are so desperate for drivers. It's like a mill. They just turn and burn. They keep coming in, revolving door, come and go, come and go. So they're always hiring new drivers. So the easiest way to get all your experience is to go over the road long haul, as you call it.
Well, why do you think it is that there's such a high turnover rate? I think I have a research study in mind now that I want to do.
Well, well, it's kind of obvious. I mean, you're gone away from home for months at a time. You know, you're home for 1 week. You're gone the rest. You're living out of a truck. It's brutal. You know, it's got the different elements, especially during winter. You go across country during the winter, like through the mountain Rockies and things like that. Forget that. But I mean, that's just me personally. I mean, I wear flip-flops and shorts most of the year. So that's just me. But I mean, going over the road, it's a hard life, you know? It's not easy.
Well, to all of those that are in the transportation industry, whether you're a long-haul trucker or you're transporting anything, our hats are off to you. We thank you so much for keeping this country running, because literally, we wouldn't be able to function without having all of the supplies that you all bring to us.
Yes, thank you. It's almost like being in the military. And that was a perfect transition for Jimmie being in the military, going into trucking, because it's kind of very similar. And they do have trucking in the military. Like, they do have a trucking department.
Like the convoys and the transport, right?
Right. So you can get your license in the military. I have to ask him that if he did that. But I
think he said that he did it after he got out.
Yeah, but he may have got his license while he was in the military.
Oh, that's cool.
They do that. They do have a trucking department in the Navy and the Marines and things like that. So a lot of guys do that. And they do go into trucking because they do already have the skill for it. So that's an easy transition, you know. But going long haul trucking, I mean, I always thought it'd be kind of cool because it'd be kind of like a big long road trip, like a camping in an RV.
But you hate travel. You are one of the world's worst travelers.
That is true. I'm like, are we there yet?
Oh, and not only that, but once we're there, he's like, there's just like, I don't have all of these things. Like, you are such a homebody.
That is very true. That's probably also why I never left, and I never left town. I was born and raised here, never left, and I don't like leaving this area.
So I remember,
it's weird.
I remember the first time we went to Zion, not this most recent time, but the first time we went, you were like fascinated with everything for like an hour, and then we get into Zion, and you're like, ugh. It's hot. You didn't pack shorts. I'm like, well, I shouldn't have had to pack you at all. Like,
thanks, Mom.
That's why you have only pants, because it said it was going to be cool. And you're like, this is miserable. I'm so tired. And I was like, well, you know, we woke up the next morning. Do you want to go back to Vegas?
Why is my Wi-Fi not working?
What? Yeah. Oh,
Vegas?
yeah. That was like a whole nother thing. What? I have no cell reception here. What if something happens? I'm like, what, Chris? What if something happens to the kids? They have another parent. They're with your parent.
I know. My point exactly.
But yeah, you're definitely an interesting one to travel with. So if you were to get to travel to another country, which I know you don't like international travel, but if you were to get to go to any other country in the world, where would you want to go?
Gee, that's an interesting question. I've always wanted to go to Italy because I like the whole Venice thing and the whole like canals and the Rome and all that. So probably Italy, because Italy's got a lot to offer. Although if you do go to Las Vegas, you do go to the Venetian. It's almost
it's not
the same thing.
It's not the same.
It's like 99% the same thing.
No, it's not. You're such a dork.
And they got canals and they got all that stuff too. So basically,
they do have the Trevi Fountain. We did see that. It's like a replica of the Trevi Fountain that Zeke and I went to.
Yes.
But it's like way more massive in Italy.
Well, it's okay. But you know what? That's the thing about Las Vegas is that you can go to Las Vegas and you can just go see Paris, Rome, you know, Italy. What else is there? You know, all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
And you don't have to like, you know, leave the country. That's great.
I would like to get you out of the country one of these days.
I heard Epcot has that too at Disney World. They got this whole Epcot Center. It's like have you been to Epcot Center?
No.
Epcot Center and
I've
Disney
never
World.
been to Disney World.
Well, Disney World, there's like multiple parks and all kind of spread out. And Epcot Center Park, there's this one section. It's like a front side and like a back side behind this big lake. On the back side behind the lake, it's like it's just like Vegas, except the casino. It's like its own little land, like the Mexico land. They got the Norway land. They got like the China land. They got every land has its own like exhibit and its own like ride or something. So it's really, really cool.
That's really cool.
You really do not have to leave the country to leave the country. It's great. If that makes sense. I guess it doesn't, but whatever.
No, there's just something different about Italy and Europe in general. And I've started to see a little bit of it here in San Diego while we're still in this quasi shelter in place, like everything's shut down. We've started to see these restaurants that need to keep functioning move to outside dining. And I went downtown to Little Italy just a couple days ago, and they'd shut down a lot of the sidewalks, and they'd taken over some of the street parking, and they have little umbrellas and cafe tables, and everybody's outside and dining, and that's very European. And it was so fun. There was music, and it was just like a really nice, lively energy. And I thought, wow, like this really does feel like it was in Italy. Because when Zeke and I went last summer, there's very few places that have large indoor seating areas for restaurants. They mostly are outdoors because the climate there is really mild. I mean, there's times when it gets really hot.
Is it like here in San Diego? The weather?
A little bit. Yeah. It's not necessarily as coastal. Like it's not as damp and humid, but we were there and it was a heat wave. It was close to like 100 during the day, but people there eat late. And so you're like 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, sitting outdoors, and they have, all of the beautiful old architecture around. So it's a little bit different than it is here because it's not so metropolitan, but I do like that aspect of what's happening here locally through COVID is this outdoor dining and feeling very European. It's so fun.
Yeah, they take the parking lot and make it a dining room with a canopy. I love it. It's great. But what are they going to do when the winter comes, when it gets really cold?
Does it seriously get really cold here in San Diego?
It freezes in here. It freezes. So
they'll bring
cold.
the outdoor heaters.
I know they probably will do that.
But hopefully, this will all dissipate before that because we are on the wedding countdown. We're into the double digits, and I really need Hawaii to open back up.
Oh, gosh. Hurry up, Hawaii. Get your stuff together. Figure it out.
Right.
Let us back. We are coming for you. But if they're not open, I don't know what we're going to do.
Well, I don't either. And so I'm trying not to think about it. We have like 96 days until we get to the wedding. I think we're going to have to absolutely make a decision within like the next 45, 50 days. Because if Hawaii is not reopening, if we're not seeing that, I mean, we can't ask our families to be waiting and, decide a day before,
Yep. That did not sound fantastic. It sounds horrible.
But you know what? We're going to get married. I don't know where or when. My hope is that it'll be in Hawaii, and I'm holding out hope for that and optimism. I'm planning for it. We sent the invitations out on Friday, the few that we get to take with us. But Chris, no matter what, I'm just excited to get to marry you.
Oh, thank you. I'm excited to marry you too. It can't be the Chris and Kristine show without Chris and Kristine. And thank you for making it official.
And next week we will have a very special episode celebrating the 1-year podcast anniversary.
1 full year will be next week. A complete year of podcasting nonstop.
I know, every week. Every week, plus bonus episodes.
Yeah, man. I mean, you could do that because a lot of people I hear will like make a podcast episode just randomly, like 1 week here, 1 week there, whenever they feel like it, but not us. We stick to a plan.
We do. You make us.
I make you.
You make us.
The listeners make you.
When we're here for you all, we love being here for you every week. Thank you so much for all of you who participated in our survey. We did draw a winner. We will be announcing it next week on our 1-year episode for our lucky winner of that Amazon gift card. Who knows? It might be you. So you'll want to tune in and listen and find out if you, yes, you, were the winner.
On that note, you guys have a fantastic week, and we will see you next time.
Remember this week that life is too short to wake up in the morning with regret.
So love the people who treat you right, forget about the ones who don't, and believe that everything happens for a reason.
If you get a chance, take it. If it changes your life, let it. Nobody said that it would be easy.
They just promised it would be worth it. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Chris.
And I'm Kristine, and until next week,
keep moving forward.